Two British backpackers are driving through one of the most isolated places on Earth. It's supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. No map, just sun, space, and each other. But just past a remote outpost called Barrow Creek, their van slows down, and only one of them is ever seen again. More than 2 decades later, what happened that night still isn't fully understood. Peter Falconio and Joanne Lees had been travelling across Australia for months, both in their 20s, adventurous, restless. They'd driven a weathered VW combi van from coast to coast, surfing beaches, sleeping under stars, chasing silence across the desert. Now they were heading north, deep into the Outback. The road was Stuart Highway, a narrow black strip cutting nearly 2,800 kilometres through the red centre of the continent. Out here, there are no cities, just red dust and an endless horizon. If someone goes missing out here, they stay missing. Just after 8 p.m, they passed Barrow Creek, little more than a petrol station and a name. That's when they saw it, a white 4-wheel drive behind them, flashing its headlights. Peter pulled over. The man inside said their exhaust was sparking, that it might be dangerous. Peter got out to check. Joanne stayed inside the van. Then a sharp sound cut through the night. A moment later, the man appeared at her window. He had a gun. He didn't speak. He bound her wrists with cable ties and forced her into his vehicle. Then he disappeared into the dark. Joanne sat still, hands tied, alone, no shoes, no phone. She started working the cable ties. They loosened. She bolted. Barefoot, she sprinted into the scrub, dodging spinifex and broken wood, until the bush swallowed her. She crawled under a tree and waited. The man's flashlight moved across the scrub, inches away from her face. Eventually, he walked off. She waited, then ran again through the dark towards a faint glint of a road. A truck passed. She ran into its path, waving it down. And finally, someone stopped. Police arrived within the hour. When they searched the combi van, Peter was gone. There was no evidence of where he'd gone, or if he was still alive. What followed became one of the largest manhunts in modern Australian history. Helicopters scanned the Outback. Ground teams combed over 120 square kilometres. They found nothing. The case began to turn inward. Joanne's story was detailed but clean. Her wrists weren't bruised. Her clothes were unmarked. She didn't cry. And some thought she seemed too calm. Her timeline had gaps. She couldn't say which way the man had driven. She was hesitant under pressure. Speculation grew. Some wondered if the story was real, if Peter had staged something, if Joanne knew more than she'd said. Then forensic techs lifted a partial fingerprint from the van. It matched Bradley John Murdoch. Murdoch wasn't a mystery. He had a long criminal record. Known drug smuggler, violent, unstable. He'd been traveling north through the territory that week. When questioned, Murdoch denied everything. He said he didn't know them, that he'd never been near Barrow Creek. But CCTV told a different story. Hours after the attack, Murdoch appeared at a remote roadhouse, alone, washing down his vehicle, changing clothes. By morning, his beard was shaved, his hair cropped short. DNA on Joanne's t-shirt matched him. The fingerprint sealed it. Police arrested Murdoch. At trial, his defense went after Joanne's credibility. They said her story shifted, that she was rehearsed, that something didn't feel right. And they asked a question no one could answer. If Peter had been killed, where was the evidence? Where was the blood? Where was the weapon? Where is the body? How do you convict someone without proof a murder ever happened? The prosecution pushed back. Joanne had described the vehicle. She'd picked Murdoch out of a lineup. Police recovered cable ties, a revolver holster, exactly as she described, and Murdoch had no explanation for his sudden shave, clean car, or vanishing act. In 2005, the jury delivered its verdict. Guilty of murder, abduction, and assault. Murdoch was sentenced to life in prison. No parole for 28 years, but the case never really closed because Peter Falconio has never been found. Not a single trace. Theories exploded. Some say they saw an abandoned van in the bush. Others believed Peter had faked his death. A few turned suspicion back on Joanne. In 2014, hikers near Tennant Creek found what looked like human remains. Police sealed the area. Forensics confirmed animal bones. In 2017, Murdoch spoke from prison. "I know where he is," he said. He offered to reveal the location, if released. Authorities refused. Later, he told a reporter, "Peter will never be found by accident." Officially, Peter Falconio is still listed as missing. His parents return to Australia every year. They walk the roadside, ask questions, visit old police leads. On what would have been Peter's 50th birthday, his mother faced the camera and just said, "I just want to bring my boy home." That stretch of highway hasn't changed. Low scrub, red dust, a narrow line across nothing. There's no sign of struggle, but that's what makes it stick. Because sometimes it isn't the sound that stays with you, it's the silence. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.